G'day from Hong Kong. Now that all 10 teams have released their 2024 liveries, I'm going to run through them and rate them from 1 to 10. And I'm going to start at number 7. Williams. They've gone with a rather richer looking blue this year. The Duracell logo stays. Look, it's surely the best piece of marketing on any F1 car this year. Golf has gone from the rear wing, replaced by a new sponsor, that is Komatsu, the Japanese heavy machinery company, and it's big, the logo here, along with My Protein, which is also prominent. And the Williams logo now features a white W, not a blue, as you saw last year. Another difference, no logos on the sides of the front wing. Now, I think we'll go close to seeing this car on the podium at some stage this year. Yeah, I think it's a possibility. And you'd put your money on Alex Albon to be behind the wheel. Now, up front, I'm looking at this from a photographer's point of view and probably differ from your point of view as a fan. As such, my list will be different to yours, so please don't go getting all sad on me and threatening to unsubscribe because I don't put your favourite car in the position that you have them, because there are something like 3.6 million different variations you can get rating these cars from 1 to 10. At number 6, I've gone with the Red Bull. Now, Max Verstappen alluded to the fact that this year you would see very little change in the car, and he was spot on. They were the last team to launch, although pics of the car at Silverstone testing were leaked a couple of days prior, confirming what Max said. Yes, there were a couple of logo movements, but it's still largely the same livery we've seen in the past few years. And I guess, why would you change something that is so iconic? Expect to see plenty of this car in your television coverage this year because, of course, Max is red-hot favourite to win the championship. And was it a surprise to see Christian Horner pop up at the launch? Yeah, I thought so. I thought the investigation into his alleged inappropriate behaviour might have been finished by now, but clearly it's ongoing, and maybe by the time you watch it, it has been decided. But at this juncture, yes, he was there, and it was business as usual for the Red Bull team. Next up, number 8. I've put Alpine in here. Unlike the other teams, they are the only team to have 2 liveries. Gone is the blue from the nose of last year's car, replaced by black carbon fibre. There is some blue and pink striping on the edge, which I think adds a nice touch. Also gone are the 3 stripes on the nose. They were the colours of the French flag. This livery will be used at 16 of the 24 races this year. And what will be used for the other 8? This design. Now, some of you say you don't like the bold pink. Yeah, it is... It's out there, isn't it? And from a photographic point of view, it's okay to shoot. Certainly better than those dark cars, which, and there are a number of them this year, with carbon fibre. I think it's a small improvement on last year's car, but I think there are other teams that have done better. So I've left it here at number 8. There were lots of comments on my Insta posts about the cars that had lots of carbon fibre visible, and I understand why they do it. Obviously because the lighter the car, the faster it goes. But certainly the public has not taken to lots of carbon fibre. At number 5, I've selected the Mercedes, the W15. W standing for Wagen, the German word for car. Now, last year's car I thought was dull because of the fact that it was just predominantly black, and at night not that great to photograph, and during the day, much like Aston Martin, it was a little better. But this year they've gone with a silver nose. I like the touch. And did you notice the numbers have changed this year? Last year we had 44 for Lewis in the fluoro yellow, and we had George's 63 in fluoro green. But this year they've reverted to black numbers with a white outline. If we get a handful of these dark cars in a bunch together, it's going to be very difficult for you as a spectator to work out what's going on, and for me to photograph, because of course I'm looking at a much smaller screen than you are when I shoot. At number 9, I've gone with the Haas. Now, their launch was pretty basic, just posting some digital renders of the 2024 car. But Luke Mitten sent me some pics from the team's Silverstone filming day. The biggest change is they've dropped the white nose of the car and gone back to black. Well, actually anthracite, which is a blackish grey. But there are still red and white pinstripes there. And if you have a look at the number here, it's larger, but it aims up, so it's going to be harder to see from ground level side on. Of course, if you can't see the number, you can always refer to the fluoro T-cam on top of one of the cars, and last year it was Nico Hülkenberg, so I gather it will again be Nico with the T-cam in fluoro colours. Any other changes? Yeah, I spotted an American flag on the nose of the car. They changed the Haas logo. Now it's white with a red background. The Haas car has never been the best looking car on the grid in my eyes, and I don't think the darker colour scheme this year is going to help it any. At number 4, I've gone with McLaren. It's pretty much the same car as last year, except they've got rid of the blue. I didn't mind the blue, but I don't think it's lost anything by not having it. I tend to rate this car in my top 5 all the time because the papaya just photographs so beautifully. And they got the jump on every other team by launching early without any notification. And then they had another launch towards the end of the 2-week window that the teams typically launch. I think we're going to see plenty of this car running at the front of the field in the 24 races that we are going to endure this year. And my number 10 car is the Aston Martin. The AMR 24 is pretty much identical to last year's car, slight colour variation with a few logo changes. It's a shocker to photograph in poor light, just a dull blob really, but in bright light it's okay. But it is going to be hard to distinguish between the many other dark coloured cars this year if the light is dull. And did you see the Boss logo? I always thought the label was Hugo Boss, but that's the parent company, and sitting just under the entity are 2 separate labels. Boss, which is aimed at, well, Aston Martin type owners, and Hugo, and I'll get to them a little later in this video. But remember, even my number 10 car is a work of art. These teams have huge budgets to play with, so they're not going to turn out something shabby. But there is such hot competition amongst these 10 mega teams that one livery just has to be last in everyone's eyes, and for me, it's the Aston Martin. At number 3, I've gone with the and it's not the AlphaTauri, it's the Racing Bulls. Well, is it? Is it the Visa CashApp? Is it the Visa CashApp Racing Bulls? Is it just old AlphaTauri? Anyway, I love the colours. They've gone back to the old Toro Rosso look. Bright blue replacing the white nose from last year. The Visa logo pops, it's in shiny silver. And the front wing is now white with this monstrous Hugo logo. And as I mentioned before, Boss is one arm of Hugo Boss, and that aims at perhaps a much higher socio-economic group, where the Hugo logo is more street smart and aimed at a younger fan base, one that might be following the Visa CashApp Red Bulls, Racing Bulls. And that just leaves 2 cars, my top 2. So perhaps I'll go with number 1, Ferrari. You just can't beat the red. This year we've got yellow outlines for the numbers on the car and plenty of yellow on the race suits. Did you see the halo has gone from black last year to red this year? I like that touch. But the biggest plus for me are the wheel covers. We've got some colour on them. This year the team's ditched the black on the race suits and gone with yellow outlines. If I was Shell, I'd be pretty happy because it seems to reinforce that Shell yellow logo. And did you notice this? I love the elongated flags under their names and numbers. I've not seen that on other suits before, and it's also on the suits of their reserve drivers. I like the white cuffs on the suits, and on the back we get the driver's surname large. But I was somewhat miffed when I got the link to the images provided by Ferrari that this image made it into the list. I'm not sure that's the best picture of Charles, or for that matter, Carlos. Your thoughts? And that just leaves one team left in my list of 10, the Sauber Stake F1 old Alfa Romeo team in second position. And thank God we don't have that awful Alfa Romeo burgundy back. It looked ordinary through my lens last year, I thought, but this year, my gosh, we've gone absolutely crazy with fluoro green. Some of you saying it looks like a car from a video game. Well, it may well do, but I think through my lens, it's going to look spectacular on track. It will pop. But I'm still not sure what to call the team, though. I guess, though, as we get into the season, we will work that out. And the race suits? Well, this really stands out, the number and their name running down the leg of each suit. There's no doubting which driver you see walking around the paddock in that kit. Now, before I leave you, this is my 2024 calendar. And at the moment, it's 15% off because we've probably gone through about 15% of the year. 25 great images from last year, plus the dates of every race are included in this calendar. Now, one last thing, please hit the subscribe button. About half of you, go figure, aren't subscribed. And you'll find a whole lot of extra content and merchandise and stuff at these links here. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Hell, that's loud. What is that plane? Bloody boat. Oh, planes.